The night the riders came, the wind was already crying. It slid through the dry grass like a warning, rattling the loose boards of the old ranch fence. Inside the small house, lantern light trembled across the walls as Eli Turner sat at the kitchen table, hands wrapped around a chipped mug that had long gone cold. He had lived alone on this stretch of land for 7 years, long enough to know when danger rode on the air. He didn't own much. A few cattle, a weather-beaten house, a fence that leaned more than it stood. To men who lived by the gun, his ranch looked like an easy taking. Eli rose slowly and stepped outside. The moon was thin, barely enough to light the prairie, but he could hear them now. Hooves pounding, low voices, the clink of metal. Raiders, 5, maybe 6. Too many for a man with an old rifle and tired bones. Eli didn't reach for his gun. Instead, his eyes went to the fence. There, hanging just inside the gate, was the white buffalo hide. Before we continue this powerful story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to channel name Like, where every story reminds us that kindness still matters. The riders burst from the darkness like a storm. They were rough men, wrapped in dust and leather, faces hidden beneath wide hats and scarves. They spread out, surrounding the ranch, already tasting victory. Then the lead rider reined in his horse. His eyes locked on the fence, on the pale shape glowing softly in the moonlight. The white buffalo hide. He raised a hand sharply. Stop. The others froze, confused, horses snorting beneath them. One rider laughed nervously. What is it? Just a hide. But the leader didn't laugh. His face had gone pale beneath the dirt. That, he said quietly, is not just a hide. Silence fell heavy. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Eli stood by the porch unarmed, his back straight despite the years pressing down on him. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. The hide had been a gift. Years ago, during a brutal winter, Eli had found a wounded man collapsed near the creek. The man was native, bleeding badly, barely alive. Eli could have ridden on. Many would have. Helping a stranger in those days often brought trouble. But Eli had remembered something his mother once told him. You never know whose life you're holding when you choose kindness. So he brought the man home. He cleaned the wound, fed him, gave him his own bed, and took the floor himself. For 3 days and nights, Eli watched over him, changing bandages, whispering encouragement even when he wasn't sure the man could hear. When the stranger finally opened his eyes, fear flashed across his face, then confusion. Eli only smiled. You're safe here. The man stayed a week. They spoke little, sharing food and silence more than words. Before leaving, the man pressed his forehead to Eli's and said something. Eli didn't understand, but felt. A month later, the hide appeared on the fence. Pure white, rare, sacred. A message without words. Back in the present, one of the raiders swallowed hard. Boss, you know what that means, right? The leader nodded slowly. White buffalo don't belong to anyone. But when a hide is given, it marks a promise. He looked at Eli now, really looked at him. Who gave this to you, he asked. Eli met his gaze. A man I helped when he was dying. The leader exhaled, shaky. Then this land is protected. Another rider scoffed. By what, a piece of skin? The leader's voice snapped like a whip. By honor. The scoffing rider fell silent. Here came the twist, the moment none of them expected. The leader swung down from his horse and walked forward alone, stopping a few feet from Eli. He pulled his scarf down, revealing a scar that ran from his jaw to his neck. You don't remember me, he said. Eli frowned, studying the face. The man touched the scar. Different winter. Different road. I was one of the men chasing that wounded stranger you saved. I was younger, crueler. Eli's breath caught. I tracked him, the man continued. Found blood near your creek. I thought you'd finish him off for me. Instead, you hid him, fed him, risked your life. The man's voice wavered. That man was my brother. The prairie seemed to tilt. I spent years thinking he died, the leader said. Until one day he found me, alive, strong, because of you. The raiders shifted uncomfortably, the weight of the moment settling on them. My brother told me, the leader said, that the world didn't change by bullets or fear, but by people who choose mercy when no one's watching. He stepped back and raised his hand again. We leave, one rider protested. We need supplies. We leave, the leader repeated, harder now. Slowly, reluctantly, the raiders turned their horses. One by one, they faded back into the darkness they had come from. Before mounting his horse, the leader looked at Eli once more. You could have taken a life that winter, he said. Instead, you saved many. Then he rode away. Eli stood alone again, the night settling gently around him. His knees weakened and he sank onto the porch steps. The weight of what had nearly happened finally catching up to him. At dawn, the sky burned gold across the plains. Eli rose and walked to the fence. He touched the white buffalo hide, rough and warm in the early sun. He thought about how close kindness had come to being forgotten that night, and how powerful it still was when remembered. Later that day, Eli fixed the fence. A neighbor rode by and asked if he'd heard rumors of raiders nearby. Eli smiled softly. I heard the wind. That's all. As the sun dipped low, he poured 2 cups of coffee and set one on the porch rail, just in case a traveler passed by who needed rest. Because Eli had learned something the hard way, and the beautiful way. Kindness doesn't make you weak. It makes you remembered.